Good evening and welcome to the July 8th, 2024 council meeting. Members of the public were provided with the following methods to watch and or participate in this open meeting. Attend in person at the North Dumfries Community Complex. Attend electronically via Zoom to observe the meeting or to speak to an item on the agenda. You can watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the Township's YouTube page. And finally, submitted written comments to the Clerk's Division were provided to council members and will form part of the public record. I'd now like to call the meeting to order. Can I have approval of the agenda, please, Councillor Rowland?
Moving myself by Councillor Ossner that council adopt the July 8th, 2024 council agenda with the following addendum. At the email communication from Mark Paddock to item 13.2.6 rec-14-2024 fence installation 23 Challenger Drive, Appleyard.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. I would now like to do the Indigenous acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Neutral people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. But words are only words on a paper until we bring them to life. And I think the most important thing we have to do is respect one another. And Ava Hill, Chief Ava Hill taught me that. She said, when we recognized an Indigenous individual for what they had done and what they had accomplished, she said, this is reconciliation. That's what they want. They seek respect, as we should respect all cultures and all types. So let's keep this in the forefront as we contemplate for a few moments, please. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none. Adoption of the minutes, please, Councillor Austin.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Williams, that council approve the following minutes, meeting minutes, 6-1, council meeting minutes, June 17, 2024, and 6-2, public planning council meeting minutes, June 18, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Thank you. Motion to move into committee of adjustment, please, Councillor Williams.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Williman, that the council meeting adjourn at 6:02 p.m. to sit as the committee of adjustment for the purposes of holding public meetings pursuant to the provisions of the Planning Act.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Can I have approval of the agenda, please, Councillor Rowland?
Moving myself by Councillor Ossner that committee adopt the July 8th, 2024 committee adjustment agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Can I have the motion for the previous minutes, please, Councillor Austin?
Moved by myself, second by Councillor, seconded by Alida Williams, that committee of adjustment approved the meeting minutes dated June 18, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. We're now on 7.5, minor variance consent application. PD 29-2024, minor variance application for 2610 Dundas Street South, file number A-05/24. Notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Deputy Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provided comments on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. These individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings on this item. Before I go to Christina, I'd like to note that there's signing sheets at the back. So if you put your name on the sheet in regards to which of the items you're here on tonight, then that will tell the clerk how to get a hold of you if any decisions come in the future. Christina Blavinovic, please, GSI Planner will present this application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentations for minor variance application A05/24 for the property located at 2610 Dundas Street South. This property is located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Dundas Street South and McLean Road. The property consists of a one-story detached dwelling and a dog kennel known as Willow Acres Pet Boarding. This property is 15.4 acres in size with a lot frontage of 73.8 meters onto McLean Road and 255 meters onto Dundas Street South. Surrounding land uses are primarily agricultural and rural residential. This property is Zone 1 agriculture and designated rural area and protected countryside in the township official plan. The owner proposes to facilitate the construction of a two-story accessory building within the front yard of the subject property. An elevation of the proposed development is shown on the right of the screen. The first story is proposed to be a garage with a size of 168 meters squared, and the second story is proposed to be a coach house with a size of 112 meters squared. The principal dwelling has a building footprint of 175.6 meters squared. 40% of the principal dwelling footprint is equal to 70.2 meters squared. The proposed coach house will exceed the permitted maximum size of 40% of the footprint of the principal dwelling. As per section 2.126 of the general zoning bylaw, the front lot line is defined as follows. In the case of a corner lot, the shorter lot line that abuts a street shall be deemed to be the front lot line, and the longer lot line that abuts a street shall be deemed to be the exterior side lot line. Based upon the definitions just mentioned, the property located at 2610 Dundas Street South, the front lot line shall be McLean Road the front lot line shall be McLean Road as this represents the shortest distance measured along the road. The existing kennel and proposed accessory garage coach house will be situated within the established building line of the principal dwelling, necessitating additional variances. The image on the left is the front elevation of the proposed accessory building. The area within the orange box is the proposed coach house, and the image on the right is a floor plan of the proposed coach house. The owner is requesting the following minor variances. 1, section 6.4.1 establishes that no accessory building may be erected between any building lines established by the bylaw. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the existing kennel accessory building and the proposed accessory garage building to be located in front of the principal dwelling. The second is section 6.40.7 permits a maximum coach house size of 40% of the footprint of the principal dwelling. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a maximum size of 64% of the footprint of the principal dwelling. Section 640.8I establishes that the building height of the coach house cannot exceed that of the principal dwelling and in no case shall be more than 6.1 meters. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the coach house to exceed the height of the principal dwelling and to permit a height of 6.95 meters for the coach house. Section 6.40.8II establishes that the coach house cannot be closer to the street line than the front wall of the principal dwelling. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a coach house to be located closer to the street line. During the June 18th public planning meeting, Council Arsenault requested that a measurement be taken to confirm whether this variance would still be required. Planning staff undertook these measurements of the front yard setback to the proposed coach house and to the existing dwelling. The proposed coach house is approximately 150 meters setback from McLean Road, and the existing dwelling is approximately 160 meters setback from McLean Road, therefore still requiring this variance to the section of the zoning bylaw. And lastly, section 6.40.12 establishes that a coach house may not be permitted within any building lines established by the bylaw. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the coach house to be located in front of the principal dwelling. There has been no correspondence received from any members of the public. There are no objections from the Region of Waterloo Catholic District School Board, Canada Post, GRCA, Engineering Department, or Fire Department. The building department will require a full septic review at the time of building permit. Planning staff are of the opinion that the requested variances meet the 4 tests of the minor variances outlined by the Planning Act. The first being that the variance is minor in nature. The subject property is heavily treed and will be screened. The proposed coach house accessory building will be screened from the road for both road frontages. The size of the subject property is large enough to accommodate the increased coach house size. And the increased height will not impact adjacent buildings or properties as it's located in an open area and will maintain sufficient setbacks. Secondly, that the variance is desirable. The construction of an accessory building and coach house is considered an appropriate development of the land and is a permitted use. The proposed development will also contribute to additional housing supply. Third, that the variance meets the intent of the bylaw. The proposed development is a permitted use within the Z1 zone and will remain subordinate to the principal dwelling. And lastly, that the variance meets the intent of the official plan. The official plan regulates uses through the zoning bylaw, and the proposed development is in conformity with the intent of the zoning bylaw. Planning staff recommend that minor variance application A05/24 be approved, subject to the condition listed in the recommendation section of PD Report 29/2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Does the applicant wish to state anything? No, okay. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this application? Any members of council wish to ask anything? Comment? Can I please have the motion, please, Councilor Williams?
Moved by myself, second by Brian Rowland, the PD report number 29/2024 be received. And that minor variance application A-05/24 be a request to permit the existing kennel accessory building to be located in front of the principal dwelling, where section 6.4.1 of the general zoning bylaw 689-83 establishes that no accessory building may be erected between any building lines established by this bylaw. B, the proposed garage accessory building to be located in front of the principal dwelling, whereas section 6.4.1 of general zoning bylaw 689-83 establishes that no accessory building may be erected between any building lines established by this bylaw. C, a coach house size of 64%, 112.4 meters squared of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit, whereas section 6.40.7 of general zoning bylaw 689-83 permits a maximum coach house size of 40%, 70.24 meters squared of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit. The coach house to exceed the height of the principal dwelling and to permit a height of 6.95 meters or 22.8 feet for the coach house, whereas section 6.40-8.1 of general zoning bylaw 689-83 establishes that the building height of the coach house cannot exceed that of the principal dwelling, and that in no case shall be more than 6.1 meters or 20 feet. Section 6.40.82 of general zoning bylaw 689-83 establishes that the coach house cannot be closer to the street line than the front house of the principal dwelling. The owner seeks release from this provision to permit the coach house to be located closer to the street line. And F, the coach house to be located closer to the street line, whereas section 6.40.12 of general zoning bylaw 689-83 establishes that a coach house may not be permitted within any building lines established by this bylaw be approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, the proposed accessory building coach house shall be constructed in the location as shown on the concept plan that form part of the June 18, 2024 public meeting.
All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next is PD 30-2024 minor variance application 1606 Flags Road. Notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Deputy Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comments on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. These individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of future meetings on this application. Christine Blazanovic, Planner and GIS Technician, will present this application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentations for minor variance application A04/24 for the property located at 1606 Frakes Road. The purpose of this meeting is to advance a recommendation for the committee's consideration on the merits of the application. The property is bounded by Greenfield Road to the north, Shoulders Side Road to the west, and Sprague's Road to the south. The property consists of a 2-story detached dwelling and 2 accessory buildings. This property has a frontage of 152 meters onto Sprague's Road and is 6.7 acres in size. Surrounding land uses are primarily agricultural and rural residential. This property is zoned Z1 agriculture and designated prime agriculture and protected countryside in the township official plan. This dwelling is also listed on the municipal heritage registry. The owner proposes to convert a portion of the existing accessory building into a coach house. The proposed coach house, highlighted in purple, will be 8.5 meters by 9.1 meters for a total size of 78 meters squared. The principal dwelling, highlighted in green, has a building footprint of 130.3 meters squared. 40% of the principal dwelling footprint is equal to 52.1 meters squared. The proposed coach house will exceed the permitted maximum size of 40% of the footprint of the principal dwelling. The remaining portion of the accessory building highlighted in orange will be 8.5 meters by 12.2 meters for a total size of 103.7 meters squared. The owner is requesting the following minor variances. Section 6.4.1 establishes that no accessory building may be erected between any building lines established by this bylaw. The owner is seeking relief from this provision to permit the accessory building to be located in front of the principal dwelling within the established building line. Section 6.40.7 establishes or permits a maximum coach house size of 40% of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a maximum size of 60% of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit. Section 6.40.9 II establishes that the coach house must be located in the rear yard. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the coach house to be located in the front yard. And section 6.40.12 establishes that a coach house may not be permitted within any building lines established by this bylaw. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the coach house to be located in front of the principal dwelling within the established building line. This photo is a view from the driveway entrance off of Sprague's Road. The accessory building is located on the left side and the principal dwelling is located to the rear on the right side. The left side of the existing accessory building will be the coach house, and the remaining portion on the right will remain as storage and workshop area for the property owners. One piece of correspondence was received from the adjacent property owners providing support for the proposed application. There were no objections from the Region of Waterloo, Waterloo Catholic District School Board, GRCA, Township Engineering Department, or Township Fire Department. At the time of building permit, the building department will require engineering review of the structure to verify that the structure is structurally adequate for residential occupancy, and a septic assessment will also be required. Planning staff is of the opinion that the requested variances meet the four tests of the minor variances outlined by the Planning Act. The first being that the variance is minor in nature. The size of the subject property is large enough to accommodate an additional 20% in floor area above the permitted maximum 40% for the proposed coach house. The proposed coach house will be within an existing building on the property, so no new buildings or exterior alterations are proposed. Secondly, that the variance is desirable. The construction of a coach house is considered an appropriate development of the land and is a permitted use. The proposed development will also contribute to additional housing supply. Third, that the variance meets the intent of the bylaw. The proposed development is a permitted use within the Z1 zone, and the coach house will remain subordinate to the principal dwelling. And lastly, that the variance meets the intent of the official plan. The official plan regulates uses through the zoning bylaw, and the proposed development is in conformity with the intent of the zoning bylaw. Planning staff recommend that minor variance application A04/24 be approved, subject to the condition listed in recommendation section of PD Report 30/2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. I believe that Brock Linklater would like to speak. Go ahead, Brock.
Good evening, Honorable Madam Mayor, members of the committee and staff. My name is Brock Linklater from Darden Smith and Head Planning Consultants, and I'm here today representing the property owners of 1606 Sprague's Road. Thanks again to Christina for the detailed summary of the application. I won't go too in depth on the variances, as Christina described them very well, but in summary, these four variances will allow for a portion of an existing accessory building on the property to be converted into a coach house dwelling unit. This represents an efficient use of existing structure on the property, contributing to much needed housing units without disrupting the character of the nearby neighborhood. We have reviewed staff report and agree that the variances are minor in nature, and we support the staff recommendation for approval. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Is there any member of the public that wish to speak on this application? Seeing none, any members of council have any comments or questions? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councilor Rowland?
Myself, by Councilor Ossner, that PD report number 30/2024 be received. That minor variance application A-04/24 may request to permit the accessory building located in front of the principal dwelling, whereas section 6.4.1 of General Zoning Bylaw 689-83 establishes that no accessory building may be erected between any building lines established in this bylaw. B, a coach house size of 60% or 78 meters squared of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit, whereas section 6.40-7 6.40.7 of general zoning bylaw 689-8 permits a maximum coach house size of 40% or 52.1 meters squared footprint of the principal dwelling unit. C, the coach house be located in the front yard, whereas section 6.42.92 of general zoning bylaw 689-8 establish that the coach house must be located in the rear yard. D, the coach house be located in front of principal dwelling, whereas section 6.40.12 of general zoning bylaw 689-8 establishes that coach house may not be permitted within any building line established by this bylaw. Be approved, subject to the following condition: that council review and approve the request to waive the cultural heritage impact assessment requirement. Should council deny the request to waive the CHIA, the applicant shall provide a completed cultural heritage impact assessment to the satisfaction of the township of Northland.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. There's no correspondence. Can I have a motion to adjourn committee of the Adjustment, please, Councillor Austin?
Moved by myself, seconded by Alida Wellens, that pursuant to the Planning Act, the public meeting of the Committee of Adjustment be adjourned at 6:21 p.m.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. What is a delegation? Sorry. There is a delegation, Chris, Kira Grissom from Climate Action Waterloo Region will present the report, please. Welcome, thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kira Chisholm. I'm the plan manager of the Climate Action WR program. Presenting today also with Patrick Bilbright, the executive director of Green Solutions. Here today to present the results of our community greenhouse gas inventory for the year 2022. So Climate Action WR is a collaboration between local organizations, municipalities, and community members focused on climate mitigation or reducing greenhouse gas emissions across Waterloo Region. We are co-led by both Green Solutions and SWR as a collaborative partnership working closely with all 8 municipalities. So let's jump right into the numbers. So as a community, we committed to reducing our emissions 50% by the year 2030, and we're here today to provide another update on our progress towards this 2030 target. Understanding our progress on emissions reductions can inform decision-making and help us hold all of us accountable to take ambitious action. Okay. So in 2022, our emissions were 12% less than the 2010 baseline. This is only slightly higher than what we reported last year in our 2020 inventory, which was as to be expected due to reduced travel during the COVID-19 pandemic. While 12% does show great progress from our previous 6% target, I would like to stress that we are not on track to meeting this 50% by 2030 target. Why this target is so important is because we are in a crucial window to make changes in this decade as part of global efforts to keep warming limited to 1.5 degrees. It's also a necessary milestone for our long-term target of an 80% emissions reduction by 2050. Next slide, please. So looking at what sectors our emissions come from, we can see that transportation emissions still account for almost half of our community-wide emissions, followed closely by emissions from buildings at approximately 45%. So if we look at our transportation or our emissions in more detail over time, we see the slight dip in 2020 that I referred to before and the slight increase to 2022. The transportation section, which is in green, is further broken down to highlight the emissions by vehicle type. So we can see that passenger vehicles, including cars, light-duty trucks, and SUVs, account for almost 65% of our community emissions, which is an important indicator of the need to support residents in transitioning to zero-emission vehicles and increased use of active and public transportation. Next slide, please. If we look more closely at the transportation emissions data, we see some improvements due to lesser average distances traveled, resulting in slightly improved emissions for the transportation sector. However, the trend of purchasing larger vehicles is limiting this progress with lesser fuel efficiency in light-duty trucks and SUVs than passenger cars. Slide, please. So for building emissions, which is that section in orange, ICI, industrial, commercial, and institutional buildings account for almost 60% of our community-wide emissions, and then residential makes up the other 40%. Next slide. This graph shows the changes in emissions from each energy source from our baseline year to 2022. So we can see that natural gas accounts for the most significant portion of emissions from those ICI and residential buildings. One trend I'd like to highlight is the orange ribbon, sort of third from the top in 2010, which shows the effects of the phase out of coal between 2010 and 2015 in reducing emissions pretty significantly despite increasing demand. So it's actions like this that help decarbonize the whole grid that make really transformational action. And next slide, please. So just as a reminder, Transform WR is our community climate action plan that outlines actions in more detail for Waterloo Region, transition to an equitable, prosperous, and resilient low carbon community. The strategy is supportive of us reaching this 50 by 30 and 80 by 50 emissions reduction targets. So how can we get back on track? Firstly, I'd like to stress that reducing emissions requires an all hands on deck approach. It is the responsibility of everybody, every elected official, every municipality, and every organization. And then we also need to be engaging residents to participate in climate solutions. So from this inventory, it's clear we need supportive policy, community programs, and incentives, as well as strong coordinated advocacy to upper levels of government to support the transition to drive less, enabled by safe, active transportation network and where possible, public transit, as well as this investment paired with the increased adoption of zero emissions vehicles for personal and fleet vehicles, as well as the electrification of equipment. To support accelerated emissions reductions in buildings, we need, again, community programs, supportive policies and incentives, as well as strong advocacy to upper levels of government to support our community to use less energy by making improvements to building envelopes and using energy more efficiently. This could be through support of regional programs such as Retrofit WR and exploring other similar initiatives that enable commercial buildings to decarbonize, as well as the adoption of ambitious high-performance development standard and continued exploration of low-carbon thermal energy projects. So thank you for your time and attention today to learn and understand our progress towards our community-wide emissions targets and the need for accelerated action to get back on track.
Thank you. Councilors, any questions? Seeing none at this time, thank you for bringing your report. We do have a motion that will approve it. Just a comment that if you want to nag the region about transportation for the townships, because we've been working on them for over 10 years now and we're not making headway. So we would really appreciate if we could get some transportation this way. Thank you. Can I have the motion, please, Councilor Williams?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Ullman, that the delegation and Kyra Cheslin of Climate Action WR Greenhouse Gas Inventory Progress Report be received with thanks.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. Thanks a lot. Take care. Next, we have a request to lift anything from the consent agenda for separate consideration. And I would like to list 12.2.1. Especially Chamber of Commerce 2024 Community Awards. Is there anything else anyone would like to lift at this time? Seeing none others, we will go ahead with the motion, just scratching through 12.2.1. Council Rowland, please.
Moved by myself by Councilor Oster, that the following reports as listed on the July 2024 consent agenda be received, and recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. 12.11, FIN -12-2024 Community Foundation Grant Award 2024. 12.122, FIN -13 2024, and the Community Building Fund Agreement Renewal 2024 to 2034. 12.1.3, FD-07 2024. June 2024 incident response summary. And the following information items as listed on the July 2024 consent agenda be received. Communications correspondence, the Excellence Agricultural Awards, and the AMO Advocacy on Homeless Encampments. And 12.2.3, the external board agencies, Regional Waterloo Council meeting minutes, April 2024, Regional Waterloo Library meeting minutes, April 2024, and GRCA meeting minutes, April 2024.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And now we'll go to 12.2.1A, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilor Rowland as I believe you have a nomination.
Madam Mayor, in reviewing the chamber different awards available, a name popped in my mind of Mary Schmidt. I think Mary Schmidt has done quite a bit for the community over the last number of years, but also especially this year. She's the chair of the R200 committee. She was director of Brady Dune. She's the conductor for the Earth Management Plan for a number of years. So I was hoping we could find an appropriate place to nominate her. I know the CEO suggested a lifetime achievement. I was thinking volunteer of the year. I'm not sure which one is more appropriate. And the other names I had in mind, I don't know if we can nominate two or not, but I was also looking at the board member awards. And I know Great Awards has done a lot of work for Porchlight. About 10 years ago, he took over as president of an event called the Family Counseling Center. And I feel he was instrumental in turning that organization around and making them financially viable. So I was wondering if we could nominate two people. I was hoping for nominating Great Award and board member award, and then Mary Schmidt for either lifetime achievement or volunteer of the year, whatever appropriate.
Thank you. Discussion, comments? Councilor Austin.
I think that Mary would be a good choice for volunteer award.
And I tend to agree. Because we won the lifetime achievement award the last 2 times. I think it'd be hard for Cambridge Chamber to give it to North Countries of 3rd year in a row. But I agree, and I also agree with the award. Can we have an amendment to the motion, please? Thank you. And if, you know what, the nominations are open till, I believe, September 2nd, CEO McNeely?
That's correct.
So if we think of anyone else in the meantime, we can still go through the list of different categories and see if there's someone appropriate. And then maybe someday we'll run our own awards. I'd like to acknowledge that Councillor Tilly is diligently listening and watching and taking part in this meeting. Good evening, Councillor Tilly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to be outside and still enjoying everything that's going on there.
Should an item come up that you wish to discuss and I did not see your hand, you can just say, "Excuse me, Madam Mayor," and I will recognize you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And I have to mention that I'm enjoying the peacefulness beside me today.
I just know that you're probably missing me a little bit, but that's okay. You don't have to admit that.
move on with 13.2.1 while we wait for that to be printed off, which is the fence bylaw exemption for 2 Marshall Ave. Any questions or comments from council? Councilor Austin.
Just a comment, when I was reading the report. I had a lot of concerns about how close it appeared to be. However, tonight I took a drive, stopped, looked at it. And it doesn't, the picture makes it appear much closer to the road than I think it really is. So, yeah, I think, in my opinion, it's back far enough. And, I also was noticing on Roseville Road, when you go towards Trustler. I was noticing some of the properties there, the chain link fence and stuff. And they appear to be just as close to the road as the proposal for this property, so. I'm glad I stopped and I took a look at that, because that's a little muddy when I was looking at the pictures.
Yeah, the other exemption on it is that it will be an 8-foot rather than 6 feet. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead, Council.
Just to add on that, because I thought about that too, but it's basically back right on the trees. So 8 feet, 6 feet, I don't think it's gonna make any difference, because the trees are gonna carry on up.
I'm 5 feet, it's all above me. Can I have the motion, please, Councilor Austin?
So moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Williams, that bylaw report 10-2024 fence bylaw exemption to Marshall Avenue. That bylaw report number 10-2024 be received, and that council grant the variance to the fence bylaw 3473-24 to allow for a 2.44 meter or 8-foot high privacy fence to be constructed in the side yard as opposed to the maximum allowed of 1.83 or 6 feet. And that the 2.44 8-foot high privacy fence be allowed to be constructed at the property line as opposed to the required 1.5 or 5-foot setback. And that a portion of the fence measuring 1 meter or 3.28 feet by 1 meter be permitted in the corner daylight triangle.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. We'll carry on with 13.2.2, the financial update. Is there any questions, any comments, councilors? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councilor Williams?
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Woman, that fin report 14.20-24 be received for the purposes of information.
All those in favor? I did check on you, Councilor Tully, make sure you're voting. Next up, we do 13.2.3, the community risk assessment. Report from the fire department. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councilor Bowman?
Myself by Councilor Oster, that report number 08-2024 be received, and the fire department utilize the outcomes analysis from community risk assessment to inform future department business plans, fire prevention and public education programs, training curriculum and programs, and capital and operating budgets. And then a copy of community risk assessment dated July 8th, 2024, be posted in township's website.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And next is the request to waive the CHIA for 33 Northumberland Street. Any questions or comments? Councilor Bowman?
Madam Mayor, so the issue at this at the Appleyard Park is going on for a few years now. The concern that the residents have on either side of the park was the Enbridge easement going across the back of our school properties. They keep on the left. That's right.
13.2.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Any questions or comments in regards to 13.2.4? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please? Councilor Austin.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Williams, that PD 31-2024 Request to waive Chia at 33 Northumberland Street, file number CHS 0524. That PD report number 31-2024 be received, and that the requirement to prepare a cultural heritage impact assessment report for the commercial building located at 33 Northumberland Street to support the use of the building for a restaurant use with a reduced minimum parking requirement be waived.
All those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. What's the motion? Can I have the motion, please, Council Rowland, for 13.1?
Move myself and Council Williams, that Mary Schmidt for the volunteer award. That Mary Schmidt volunteer award and for the Ray Award, the board award be nominated by council in response to the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce 2024 Community Awards. And that's that be authorized to submit the nomination of Mary Schmidt and Ray Award to the Chamber.
Understanding that when we pass this, any information that we have, we will provide with the clerk to help strengthen the nomination. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. 13.2.5, request to waive the chair for 1606 Sprague's Road. Any questions or comments? No. Council Williams, please.
Moved by myself, second by Council Rowland, that PD report number 33-2024 be received, and that the requirement to prepare a cultural heritage impact assessment report for the residents located at 1606 Sprague's Road to support the proposed conversion of an accessory building into a coach house be waived.
All those in favor, I'm laughing because now the printer works. If your business is done, you don't have to stay around for the rest of the meeting, but you're more than welcome to. I know it's riveting. Next, we have, the fence installation at 23 Challenger Drive, April, and Council Rowland, I know you want to speak on this.
Okay, jumping the gun there a little bit. The Appleyard Park, when we first established that a few years ago, the neighbors were concerned about the trail running behind the houses. And I know that the property to the west, they want the chain link fence across to stop anybody from going into the property behind their house. But I know the other concern is all the properties to the east of the park. That's where the future trail expansion will go. So I'm just wondering, is there any plan for us to fence that portion of the park?
CO McNeely?
Madam Mayor, the rear yards to the I guess it would be east of Appleyard, the primary area associated with Appleyard Park and where the future trail connection will be. It's a little bit more problematic in that the existing easement actually cuts through portions of those adjacent backyards. And we were effectively placing the fence on a diagonal across the pipeline. Our fence posts have to be a minimum of 2 meters offset from the pipeline corridor. So we would have to do a little bit more finesse work with Enbridge to accommodate a fence at that location. Whereas to the west, where I'll call it the active area of the park is, it's perpendicular to the pipeline corridor. We're confident that we can meet the 2 meter offset for the fence posts to accommodate that installation.
Any further comments, Council Rowland?
Madam Mayor, so through you to CAO, I'm just wondering, is there any value in temporary fencing, construction fencing, or slope fencing or something to keep people out of that sort of unopened portion of the park?
Madam Mayor, through you, Councilor Roman, I would want to have a discussion with the residents. They may not be overly excited to see orange colored construction type fence in their backyards. Right now, we're not getting a lot of traffic going along that east-west corridor. We are mowing it, but there is no physical trail. There's really not a lot of reason why someone would move down that corridor to the east. There's no active area other than green grass.
Would it be fair to defer that section until we get complaints or to see if anything comes of it? And go ahead with the existing motion? Council Roman, and then Council SCA on here.
What was there additional correspondence from a resident, in the addendum? Right? So that's under 32.
That correspondence was Mr. Paddock, who is the adjacent resident to the west that is actually seeking the fence that is before Township Council this evening. So it's not an additional resident, it is the abutting landowner to the west of the park. And he is basically, for lack of a term, endorsing the staff report that common lot line fence be installed in the present period.
Council Roman.
I know that in the past that, various township events or township, meetings, we had a hilltop meeting that there were residents, who were expressing concern about that. That trailhead at one time, so I'm not sure that's still an ongoing issue. But, we're dealing with now great fence on the west side, I'm sure it's gonna come back.
CEO McNeely.
Madam Mayor, we can set a meeting with the residents, but there will be a restriction imposed as to that fence, given the current provisions as established by Enbridge. They relaxed their standards for 2015 to allow us to entertain the discussion that's before Township Council tonight. Because in 2015, we actually had to remove the fence from the drawings, because they would not allow any fence. They have reconsidered their position, but they did identify to us that the issue of the fence to the east would be problematic, given the alignment of the pipe vis-a-vis the rear lot lines.
Do we have any complaints as of yet from the residents in that area?
Consistent with what Councilor Rowland indicated when we had our public information sessions, I'm going back to when we were doing the conceptual layout of the park, we did show the trailhead or future trailhead. And certainly there were residents at that time that expressed concerns. That trail connection has not been constructed. So in a recent time period, no, we have not received comments other than from the adjacent landowner to the west.
Can we defer looking into these sections till another meeting where we can have the drawings here again and look at it and all the options and then make either a decision or defer until we do get more comments to the reality of what's happening. So we'll go forward with this motion, if that's okay. Councillor Rowland, please.
Myself by Councillor Oster, record report 14-2024 and installation 23 Challenge Drive, Alpha Park, that record report 14-2024 be received. The council approved the installation of chain link fence over top of the Enbridge pipeline easement between the properties of 19 Challenger Drive and 23 Challenger Drive, Alpha Park, at a cost of $4,500 plus HST. The council authorized the treasurer to fund the project from the Park Trust reserve account to the amount of $4,500 plus HST.
All those in favor? That's carried, thank you. Next, we have Next, we have the MOU with the Lions Club in the township. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, Councillor Austin, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Williams. Rec 15-2024, the MOU Airlines and Township. That rec report number 15-2024 be received. And the council approved the annual rental payment of $500 plus HST annually for the exclusive use of the Lions Den in the Roseville Community Center through 3195 Roseville Road. And that council endorsed the memorandum of understanding with the Air North Dumfries Lions Club and the Township of North Dumfries for the term commencing on June 1st, 2024, extending to May 31st, 2029, included as attachment number 1 to this report. And that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the memorandum of understanding on behalf of the township with the Air North Dumfries Lions Club.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is enabling accessibility, fund small projects program 2024, Council Rose, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rowland, that correct report number 16-2024 be received. And that council authorize staff to make application with the Enabling Accessibility Fund Small Projects Program 2024 grant for accessibility renovations at Roseville Community Center, 3195 Roseville Road, and a maximum eligible amount of $125,000. And that the 2025 capital budget allocation amount of $197,000, township's portion of the overall project, be established as a pre-approval subject to securing the grant allocation through the Enabling Accessibility Fund 2024 Small Projects Program.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is the correspondence, letter of Aggregate Resource Act, streamlining approvals. Any questions, comments, or good words? Seeing none, Councilor Williams.
Myself and Councilor Oster, that the letter from the Ministry of Natural Resources are the streamlining of approvals under the Ag Resources Act and support policy. Do you see?
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And 13.3.2 email re-noise bylaw exemption request for 1054 Charlotte Side Road. There is a motion here to allow that Neville Van Journal may speak about his email communication that forms part of the agenda. Councilor Oster, do you want to read the motion? Motion 13.3.2.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Williams, that Nevin Van Drummel may speak about his email communication that forms part of agenda item 13.3 correspondence items for action.
Councilors at this time, you have to decide whether we will allow him to speak. Councilor Tilly, would you like to make any comments?
Just because I haven't been able to speak with Nevin in the past little while, hopefully this is coming through clear. Is he online ready to come on at this point? I'm not sure if he did connect. Oh, excellent. Okay. Excellent. I at this point, I know he is he's looking forward to sharing his opinion on the situation with his neighbor.
Okay, thank you, Councilor. Councilors, all those in favor of allowing him to speak? Councilor Tilly is in favor, so you may speak. You have a maximum of 5 minutes.
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Mayor Foxton, Township Council, members and staff. My wife and I are residents located directly south and adjacent to the Oriental Sports Club. I'll refer to it as the OSC, in North Dumfries on Shellard Side Road, going on to 4 years now. I hope you can see a Google Maps version for a visual reference. On the Google map, you'll notice that you can see the OSC parking lot is segregated into an outdoor area for performers and DJs, approximately 100 meters or so from our backyard. Bullfights are held just behind the soccer field, and there is an indoor venue which can host approximately 400 people. I'm here tonight to talk about opposing any future noise exemption applications by the OSC and request that you consider this information as part of your decision-making process should an application for noise exemptions be submitted by the OSC. In the last month, I've reported issues of excessive noise and nuisance on June 8th, June 23rd, and less than 48 hours ago, Saturday, July 6th, 2024. Noise complaints include excessively loud live amplified voices, shouting, screaming, and yelling. I reported fireworks on June 10th, 2 instances, and 12 instances of possible firearms discharge, firecrackers, or fireworks from 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. Saturday, July 6th. In summary, that makes a grand total of 12 noise complaints and 16 firecracker, fireworks, firearm discharge complaints since June 2023 to present. How has this affected the quality of our lives? The noise and fireworks have been very disruptive to the quality, peace, and tranquility of our lives. Our dogs, which are terrified of fireworks, hide in the basement. Most events are unannounced and are attended by hundreds of people. Hence, our backyard, when the events are happening, is not a place where you can plan a tranquil weekend, have a quiet barbecue, or invite friends and family over without the chance of noise nuisance from the OSC. Our sleep is often interrupted by the noise, yelling, and loud voices, and car horns going off in the middle of the night from the OSC parking lot. The noise is often loud enough to hear inside our house with the windows closed. I want to emphasize there's no escape from the noise for us. Volunteers and patrons at the OSC event can attend, make noise, and leave at any time and go home. We live here and we have to endure it for hours on end until it's over. Reckless driving from patrons going into and leaving the events, i.e. motorcycles and cars, is also a concern to our safety and theirs. I've reported many instances to the Waterloo Regional Police Services. Going into our 4th year as neighbors, the OSC continues to disregard any attempt to limit the noise during events held there. And I do not feel confident the OSC will comply with noise bylaws based on history, and it will repeat itself. The OSC website mission statement declares that they strive to provide an exceptional experience to their members, families, and community neighbors. I disagree.
You have 1 minute, please.
There has been very little regard for us and our neighbors of peace and tranquility. I feel that the OSC will continue to break the noise bylaws and show little improvement, if any. I'd like to thank Councillor Tilley and North Dumfries bylaw enforcement, who has been active in warning and coaching the management of the OSC over the course of the year, but I'm not sure if any enforcement is taking place. I'd also like to thank you all once again for your time, consideration, and help going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. The motion, please, Councillor Robinson. Okay, so let's go ahead.
Thanks for the presentation. I was looking for basically new information from your emails. We really got a sense, or I really got a sense of the frustration through your emails. And I really believe this is something that needs to be addressed.
Thank you.
And so can I ask questions about how this process with the bylaw exemptions, et cetera, is happening with the Oriental Club?
Madam Mayor, through the Councillor Ossner, there is no request in front of the township for an exemption from the noise bylaw.
Okay, so that's what I was getting at with all the complaints. Is Nevin?
Correct. Thank you.
That Nevin has had. These are the notes that I'm writing down, is how many times has this club come to us for noise exemption bylaws? Or exemptions?
I can only speak to calendar year 2024. I can't go back in history. Excuse me, but in 2024, there has been no asks of the township for an exemption from one or more aspects of the noise bylaw.
So in that case, then, just walking through, because we've heard this numerous times, and so is Nevin to call bylaw at midnight or whatever, and is bylaw always available, and can they get out there right away?
So Madam Mayor, through the Councillor Ossner, no, we do not staff 7/24. We have 1 full-time bylaw enforcement officer and 2 part-time staff. Generally, at this time of year, we're staffing between 50 and 60 hours for a typical 7-day week period. We have had over the last few weekends, staff on in the Friday evening, mid-afternoon Saturday to approximately 11 p.m. on Saturday, and then again for portions of calendar day Sunday during the day period. We have not received in the last 2 weekends calls for service to attend this property during those staffed hours.
Okay, so then, so basically residents like yourself have to be more diligent on the calls or like, it just seems to me that if bylaws are gonna be broken, it's, if we're only staffing till 11 o'clock, bylaws are being broken after 11 o'clock. So should we be adjusting our hours or?
So Madam Mayor, through the council, Oster, on a couple of those weekends, the last event wrapped up at 8 o'clock in the evening. So we covered the majority of the evening hour. And people will come and go through the evening hours. And if there is a call for service, our bylaw enforcement officers carry mobile phones with them. If they're not there to field the initial call at the office, they do checking for their messages. And or if there is an email through to the general bylaw email account, once again, they carry their phones that have email listings, and they would then intend to respond.
So, do we have any idea, does anybody have any idea except the people that either rent this club or the club itself that are doing events? Can we request their calendar and say, when is your facility rented? When are you guys having your bullfights? When are you guys renting it for whatever purpose, for fireworks, candidating, whatever it may be? Have that list and then be able to watch. Like, I mean, there's gotta be some sort of process of not blacklisting a property, but keeping a watch on a property that things keep sliding underneath the radar. Is there a way to find out their schedule so that we can keep an eye on them, maybe temporarily, just to make sure that things are calming down?
Reading the motion, staff are going to take, continue to work with the management and executives of the Oriental Sports Club to reduce the limit, excesses, noise, and sanction events on the property. In a future report returning council on any, outcomes arising from these discussions between staff. So staff is going to step up and take care of,
Okay.
moving forward.
I understand that. I just wanted some clarity as exactly what that means, because I've heard a lot of times before that, yeah, we're gonna look into this and that. And we continue to get residents like Nevin sending emails saying they did it again. So I wanna make sure that we find out from the club what's going on, when it's going on, so we can keep an eye on it, and maybe we can allot bylaw. Maybe for a couple of weeks, maybe for the first 2 to 3 events or whatever, that the next 2 to 3 events, and maybe just keep a closer eye on, and then if things calm down, then everyone's happy.
No, I think we should always be keeping a close eye on all these events and not letting down. But that's besides the point. I don't think, when we've said staff have looked into it, I've always found that they have looked into it. And have dealt with the situations in 99.9% of the situations, which I'm quite pleased with. We will try and work with the club. My question is, does staff bylaw have the ability? And I mean the physical ability to shut an event down?
So Madam Mayor, in response to Councillor Osmer's first question about, do we know about upcoming events? For the most part, they're predominantly weekend related events. Generally speaking, Friday evenings through the day, early evenings on Saturdays, and generally Sunday afternoons. They're not consistently each and every weekend, but for the majority of the next few weekends, we do have a schedule from the executive. They did share that with the senior bylaw enforcement officer when he met with them approximately 10 days ago. And so the bylaw officers who have been typically on shift have been flagged and made aware and are looking for those calls for service if concerns are expressed. As it relates to Madam Mayor's question, it's a matter of degree. So no, we cannot intervene in moving vehicles. That is exclusively defined under the Highway Traffic Act and falls within the jurisdictional control of the WRPS. That being said, if our bylaw enforcement officers are witnessing something, as it relates to a moving vehicle that's being driven in a careless or reckless manner, we can request the assistance of the WRPS to attend. As it relates to activities associated with, let's say, open alcohol, in the parking lot outside of licensed areas, we would record that information and share it with the AGCO, which is the regulatory body that licenses facilities, and there are defined areas on any licensed establishment as to where open alcohol can be consumed. As it relates to noise, that is within the domain of the township and specifically the noise bylaw. And depending upon the source of the noise and the nature in which it's being presented, generally speaking, bylaw enforcement speaks with the event organizer, or in this case, the executive. If it is a situation where there is a possibility of conflict, staff will then seek the support of the WRPS to attend, and then staff would approach the event with WRPS personnel to enforce the applicable aspects of the noise bylaw. So each circumstance is assessed and risk is assessed, and also jurisdictional control. But at a minimum, it's all recorded, cataloged, and in some cases, charges are laid after the event. But it's based on the first-hand evidence secured by the bylaw enforcement officer.
Thank you, CEO. So, as you can see, we already have the calendar of the future events coming up. Bylaws are aware of them. And as this goes forward, so can I have please, any other questions, councillors? Can I have a motion,
Madam
please,
Mayor?
Councillor?
Madam Mayor, am I able to
Councillor
speak?
Tilly, go ahead. Go
Thank
ahead,
you.
Councillor, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Nevin, can you take a half step to the left so I can see you? I can't quite see you in the camera. Sorry, the other left. Thank you. There we go. Sorry, just in regards to this past weekend, I was CC'd by Nevin on, I just want to kind of make sure, is it 5 emails to the actual bylaw. Did you, sorry, CAO, did you say, sorry, through you, Mayor, to the CAO, did you say that there's nothing reported recently? Because I might have misunderstood just in what you're saying there, but I do have 5 emails that I was CC'd on the bylaw.
That's my fault. I didn't know that this weekend.
Madam Mayor, if I can interject, I had told the CAO that there was nothing reported this past weekend, and because I was not copied on that, so I apologize that this past weekend I was not made aware of the calls.
Okay, and sorry, to Nevin. Nevin, did you get a response from bylaw this weekend?
I did receive a response from bylaw, and I'm very thankful for that. And basically, the response was that they were monitoring the property on the Sunday, which was very quiet. The event occurred on Saturday, July the 6th, and that's when we experienced the very loud amplified music, amplified voices, yelling, screaming, and some type of discharge of either a firearm, firecracker, fireworks, 12 times. And very disruptive to our peace and quiet. So long story short, yes, they did reply back, and I'm very thankful for that. And it was essentially in an email. They had left 2 messages with the OSC president, I believe. And during the time of the email, there was no response back from the OSC. That's basically my recollection.
CEO McNeely, if we do not have bylaw on, would we recommend that they call police?
So, Madam Mayor, bylaw is empowered to enforce township bylaws such as the noise bylaw. Recent experiences, WRPS generally will not attend noise complaints as it's a low order call in the context of other events and situations that they typically are dealing with. They will respond in support of township staff based on firsthand experience, believes that if they were to intervene independently, that there could be a risk issue, they will support township staff in that respect. Generally speaking, if we are not on shift, they typically don't attend a noise event. Where that can deviate, we can only call field parties or things similar to that. They will typically respond to those kinds of things just because of the sheer order of number of people at those kinds of events.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, please?
So, sorry, just, can I add one more thing, please, Madam Mayor?
Go ahead, Councillor Tony.
Thank you. I did get conversation, or I did get comment, from, Mr. Steve Adams, who is also a resident on, sorry, he's also living on Schiller Road. He's across the road, I believe. And I'd just like to repeat what he said, just because I did get it late and I didn't get a chance to forward it into this, but to include this in the minutes. Said, I know you have had noise complaints regarding the sports club. Today is another day of unreasonably. This is in regards to Saturday. He sent it at Saturday at 4:55 p.m. To be clear, unreasonably loud music. To be clear, I am not against the club. I'm glad that they're here. As well as they have some outdoor events. It's just the music level is too loud at times, and this makes it unable to enjoy sit out in our homes, which is significant investments. And I'm hoping that the township can work to see this involved. I just want to. It's not just Nevin himself that has this opinion. That it is hard to live there when they're not considering their neighbors, I guess is the best way to state that. But I do appreciate the fact that I have talked myself to bylaw, and I do know that they have spent time trying to deal with this issue, but reconciling what they're supposed to do and what they're doing is I obviously not. So I appreciate Councillor Osner supporting the situation, and I'm sure as well as the rest of council, like the mayor. But I do know that they're struggling to try and get this in line. But I guess it was, to the CAO and as well as the treasurer, in regards to something like firecrackers, which is normally a 1 or 2 off in a situation where there isn't long-term noises like that. Obviously bylaw can't go improve something when it happens and then it's not there 10 minutes later. I do recognize that as something where bylaw is going to have a hard time supporting a resident like Nevin. So I guess is the next step is obviously to pursue this, but at the same time, I guess there's also noises that we're not going to be able to control in that situation as well. So just wanted to give my input on that, but also I appreciate that Nevin has gone through that.
Councillor Tilly, could you please send that email to the clerk so that she can include it in the agenda for the file so that it'll be a part of the record?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Councillor Ross, the motion, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Williams, that the information from Nevin Van Drill about requesting an exemption to the noise bylaw at 1054 Shutterside Road be received for the purposes of information, and that staff continue to work with the management executive of the Oriental Sports Club to reduce and limit excessive noise at sanctioned events on their property, and that a future report on this matter be returned to council on any outcomes arising from these discussions between staff and the management executive of the Oriental Sports Club.
Excuse me, is that first sentence correct? That the information from Neville Van about requesting an exemption to the noise bylaw makes it sound like he's requesting an exemption.
No, ma'am.
No, I'm asking Sam.
The original email came in wanting notification and no exemption to future noise bylaws.
So it should be requesting no exemption to noise bylaw, correct?
So Madam Mayor, I would never put in front of council a blanket no exemption because you don't know what the nature of the exemption might be in the future. Each exemption request is judged on its own merits.
Okay, so you're saying it reads correct.
Correct.
Okay,
What the delegation is asking is that there are ongoing concerns related to a wide range of sources of noise that are disruptive for the adjacent residential neighborhood, and they would like that addressed in a responsive manner.
and we also may have to at budget time look at how we want bylaw operating and should be increased, but that's for a discussion later. All those in favor? Carrie, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Okay. Next up is 3.3.3, email the off-street parking of recreational vehicles. So the motion is, a resident has a vehicle parked next door to them, and they're concerned about the height. Questions, comments? Councilor Rowland.
Madam Mayor, so when we reconsidered this bylaw years ago, we looked at the length of the driveway and then the size of the property as a factor in the length of the vehicle being parked on the property. In this particular instance, in a residential subdivision, they have a very large frontage and a very deep driveway. So people who are parking this oversized, supposedly oversized recreational vehicle in their driveway are not actually breaking in our bylaw. So the neighbors adjacent are concerned that it's not an attractive aesthetically pleasing feature to have this large vehicle parked all summer long. I know we went through a lot of delegations, we had a lot of people come to our meeting, we really worked hard on this bylaw to make it work. I would say overall, we had very few complaints. Most of the complaints we had were people having their tongue of their trailer parked over the sidewalk. That's pretty much gone. I haven't seen the number of trailers on front lawns or side lawns like we used to. So if this is a one-off, I'm hesitant to reopen the bylaw just for a one-off, because I'm hoping there's some other solution that we can find with these residents.
Councilor Austin.
Basically, my main point is, it was going to be exactly the same about how passionate the community was in support of these trailers and motorhomes and that. And it was their cottage. They could afford a cottage. That was their holidays. And was, you know, so all the above is correct. Looking at this picture, however, and reading through the bylaw, I see that the trailer is parked on the driveway, but they have another trailer right behind the driveway. Right behind the RV trailer. So, I didn't think you're allowed two trailers outside in the driveway. However, if they were to move that trailer, I don't know if we could request this, if they were to move that utility trailer and back their RV up against the garage, then the sight lines would turn into exactly what that property, the sight lines look on the second or third picture.
See all the feeling.
So Madam Mayor, as soon as these chains of emails started, staff went out and looked. There is no trailer on the property, so it may be off-site at a seasonal facility. So I can't speak to what's parked on the property because there's nothing parked on the property at the time that we went out with these emails.
Fair enough. So we have a picture right here that shows a utility trailer, an RV. What I'm saying is that if we could maybe contact the resident and say, when you do put your RV trailer in your driveway, please back it up to close to the house as possible, so that this might be an issue. That might not be an issue. I'm trying to balance between, you know, a bylaw that we felt that we've done a very good job. I realize it's a one-off. However, even though it's a one-off, it might be a good compromise.
See all the feeling.
Madam Mayor, we'll review the nature of the bylaw with the adjacent landowner, so they're familiar with the standards and provisions.
Thank you. So on this, we're gonna say that, it'll be Council Williams, it'll be, the first box, please. Yes. No, she actually, it's your choice. That's it.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Rowland, that the email from Cheryl Henley about off-street parking be received for the purposes of information.
All those in favor? Carrie, thank you. And bylaws, please, Councilor Rowland.
Myself by Councilor Oster, that the following bylaws be read a first and second time. 19.1 bylaw number 3496-24, being a bylaw to enter into a municipal funding grant regarding Canada Community Building Fund 2024-2034, 19.2, bylaw number 3497-24, being a bylaw to confirm the procedure of council on July 8th, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And third reading of the bylaw, Councillor Austin, please.
Moved by myself, second by Counselor Williams, that bylaw numbers 3496-24 and 3497-24 be read a third and final time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and acting clerk.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And Councillor Williams, the adjournment, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Willoughby, that whereas business before this council meeting has been completed at 7:20 PM, and be it resolved that this meeting adjourned.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a great summer.